What if I told you that an entire thriving town, homes, churches, schools, businesses, was wiped completely off the map in just 1 week? Not by a hurricane, not by a flood, but by a violent mob. Welcome back to Florida Ghost Towns. Today we're uncovering one of the darkest, most devastating chapters in Florida's history. This is the story of Rosewood. It's 1922. Deep in Levy County, Florida, nestled among the pine forests and cedar swamps, sits the small but prosperous community of Rosewood. Unlike many towns of its era, Rosewood is a predominantly black community, and it is thriving. Residents own their own homes, their own land. They have a general store, a church, a school, a Masonic lodge, and a baseball team. They are self-sufficient, proud, and building something real. Just a few miles down the road is Sumner, a white community where most residents work at a nearby cedar mill. The two towns exist side by side in an uneasy but functioning peace until New Year's Day, 1923 changes everything forever. On January 1st, 1923, a white woman in Sumner named Fannie Taylor claims she was beaten by a black man. The claim spreads like wildfire. Within hours, white men from surrounding counties are pouring into the area, armed and furious. They accuse a black man named Jesse Hunter, a convict who had recently escaped from a nearby work camp, of being responsible. But many historians believe the story was fabricated to cover up an affair. It didn't matter. The mob wasn't looking for justice. They were looking for an excuse. And Rosewood was right there. Over the next 7 days, from January 1st to January 7th, 1923, the mob systematically destroyed Rosewood. They burned homes, they burned the church, they burned the school, they hunted residents through the swamps in the dead of winter. At least 6 black residents were confirmed killed, though historians believe the true number was far higher. Some estimates reach into the dozens. A few white residents, including a man named John Wright, risked their own lives to hide Rosewood families and help women and children escape by train. But the town itself? There was nothing left to save? By January 7th, Rosewood was ash. Here's what makes Rosewood's story even more haunting. For nearly 70 years, almost nobody talked about it. Survivors scattered across Florida and beyond. Many too traumatized and too afraid to speak. The state of Florida never prosecuted a single person for the murders. The massacre was essentially erased from history books, newspapers, and public memory. It wasn't until a journalism student named Gary Moore started investigating in 1982 that the story began to resurface. Survivors, now elderly, finally broke their silence and told the world what happened that week in January 1923. In 1994, 71 years after the massacre, the Florida legislature did something unprecedented. They voted to compensate the surviving victims and their descendants. It was the first time in American history that a state government provided reparations for a racial massacre. 9 survivors received payments. Descendants received scholarships. It wasn't enough. It could never be enough. But it was a recognition that something monstrous had happened and had gone unanswered for far too long. If you drive to where Rosewood once stood today, you'll find almost nothing. A historical marker on State Road 24, a few concrete foundations barely visible beneath decades of overgrowth. The forest has largely reclaimed the land. But locals say if you walk through those woods quietly enough, past the old cedar stumps and into the shadows of the pines, you can almost feel the weight of what happened there. Rosewood isn't just a ghost town, it's a wound that Florida is still, slowly, learning to acknowledge. Rosewood's story deserves to be remembered. Share this video so more people know what happened here. And if you want to see which Florida ghost town we uncover next, make sure you're subscribed. Until next time, the forgotten are never truly gone.